Greetings, Guardians. This is Olympus Alliance. And today we've got something exciting, something fresh, and something that is already heating up the Dominion. Because the Scorching Flame season is coming, and yes, this one is on fire. Now this is one of those moments where you can feel the direction of the game starting to shift again. Not with small adjustments, not with quiet updates, but with visible changes, new heroes, reworks, and new power systems that are going to impact how we build, how we fight, and how we prepare for what's coming next. And right now, we are up at the beginning of it. So let's break down exactly what we know. And only what we know. Because there is a lot to be excited about. But we stay grounded, we stay accurate. And we build our understanding step by step. First, let's talk about something that many players have been waiting for. Dorian. Yes. Dorian is getting a rework. And not just a small update. We are talking about new visuals, improved skills, and a brand new relic, which means this is not just cosmetic. This is functional. This is power. And this is potential. Dorian has always been one of those heroes that sits in a very unique position in the game. He doesn't dominate everywhere. But when he works extremely well. His lifesteal mechanics, his synergy with damage dealers, his ability to sustain teams in specific compositions. All of that already made him relevant in certain situations. But now, with a rework and a relic coming into play, everything changes. Because relics don't just improve a hero. They redefine them. They push them into new roles, new interactions, and sometimes into completely new levels of performance. And that's exactly what we need to watch here. Not assume, not guess, but observe. Because a reworked Dorian with a relic could become something very different from what we are used to. Now alongside that, we are also seeing something that has become a strong identity for these seasonal updates. Blazing skins? And this time, the fire spreads across multiple heroes. Kayla, Dorian, and Kendall. And yes, Kendall. Because this brings us to the second major piece of this season. A new hero is arriving in the Dominion. Kendall. Now from what we've seen so far, visually, she fits perfectly into the theme of this season. Fire, intensity, presence. And a design that immediately tells you she's not just another addition. She's meant to stand out. And more importantly, she is described as a damage-focused hero. Especially when paired with healers. Now that is a very important detail. Because that already gives us a direction. It tells us that her performance is not isolated. It's conditional. It's synergy-based. She grows stronger in the right environment. And that opens the door for interesting combinations. But again, we don't speculate beyond that. We don't assume how strong she will be. We don't jump into conclusions about meta impact. Because right now, we don't have the numbers, we don't have full testing, and we don't have full interaction data. What we do have is a clear signal. She is designed to deal damage. And she benefits from support. And that alone is enough to keep her on our radar. Now let's move into something equally important. Relics. Because both Dorian and Kendall are receiving relics. And this is where things become very interesting. Because relics are not just upgrades. They are multipliers. They enhance identity, they reinforce mechanics, and they can push heroes into completely new levels of performance. So when you combine a rework plus relic for Dorian, and a new hero plus relic for Kendall, you are not just adding content. You are shifting the landscape. And that is exactly what seasons are meant to do. They introduce change. They introduce direction. They introduce opportunity. And right now, we are looking at a season that is clearly focused on fire, on damage, on synergy, and on reintroducing relevance to heroes that needed a push. And that brings us to something else that was mentioned. Archdemon. Because his performance review didn't go well. And that raises a question. Who replaces him? Is it Kendall? Is it someone else? We don't know yet. And again, we don't speculate. But what we do understand is that the developers are actively adjusting the balance of power in the game. They are looking at what works, and what doesn't. And they are making changes accordingly. Now on top of all this, there is also a very important opportunity tied to this season. Because players will be able to summon Kendall and obtain her relic for free through the Backfire adventure. And that is something you cannot ignore. Because access to a new hero, combined with access to their relic, means you can test, you can experiment, and you can understand their role early. And in a game where timing matters, that is a huge advantage. So Guardians, this is where we stand right now. Scorching Flame season is coming. Dorian is getting a rework. With new visuals, improved skills, and a relic. Kendall is arriving as a new damage-focused hero. With synergy tied to healers. Blazing skins are expanding across key heroes. And relics are once again becoming the center of power progression. This is what we know. And over the next days, we will learn more. We will test more. We will break things down properly. With data, with gameplay, and with real results. Because that's what we do. We don't guess. We analyze. We adapt. And we stay ahead. So keep your eyes open, keep your resources ready, and get prepared. Because this season is not just about fire. It's about change. Stay tuned, stay sharp. And as always, salute and friendship.